Good morning, crafty ladies and gents. Suzanne here in the studio today to go over the Cosette Workshops from Close to My Heart. Both the scrapbooking and card making workshops. I got them both because I thought this was just the most gorgeous pattern paper I'd seen in quite a while. So I was able to get an extra page out of the scrapbooking workshop and one extra card out of the card making workshop. So let's get to the details, shall we? As far as changes to the cutting directions on the scrapbooking workshop, the only thing I changed was on this exclusive paper here, which is like a brown paper bag pattern. It's this sort of craft color, and you can see printed in the design are these creases. I thought it might be nice to have a whole, what would end up being a 4.5 by 12 inch strip of that if I didn't need just one of these photo mats. And as it turns out, one of the photo mats, the 1B, can be replaced because it's on a page by itself, and I decided because of the black lettering in the label title that a black photo mat would work there, so I cut that instead. Of course, there wasn't enough paper here in the workshop for it, but of course I had black on hand, so that was the only cutting change I made. Let's look at this page by page. Isn't this pretty? Now green, dark green, is not my favorite color, so I considered maybe turning over and using the other side of the paper. And that's a tip that Close to My Heart has given us before in their online workshops. The only thing is that this same background color is used for the background of the third set of double layout, so I didn't want to repeat that. So the green is fine, and as it turns out, it was a good thing I kept the green. Okay, because I had done the black photo mat here instead of the craft one, I went to my stash and I picked out 3 black photo corners. And the idea I got for that was, of course, because there were photo corners on the sticker sheet, but they were tan. So I wanted to be able to pull some more of that black over here. And although there were already the hexagons, I thought just the 3 photo corners would be a nice touch. I didn't need to do all 4 for all of them. That'd be 12 of them. That'd be really busy. But just the 3 is enough to make the statement. Otherwise, this is pretty much done as spec. I added in some ivory and gold twine to the tags, all 3 of them. 2 are tied in bows and 1 is a loop through. And I added little gold buttons from my stash to these little fish tag banners. We got some nice, beautiful stickers in the sticker pack this together, which I put on foam tape, and this nice big mug. I did change. They had a sticker here. They had this butterfly over here, and to me, it seemed kind of silly to have 2 butterflies right next to each other, and there was no butterfly on this page. So since we already had this butterfly here and this here, I moved this over to here and then switched out another one. I believe I cut this from that scrap paper. And then I decided to go ahead and add in an extra butterfly there, as well as an extra hexagon, just to give that a little more oomph since I had changed out what I was doing. So I like how this turned out. I like being able to change little details and make it my own. For example, they had 2 long strips here for the journaling, and I prefer them kind of short there and in the margin. And of course that could change again when I actually put photos and journal on this page. Okay, then we go to the next one. All right, how did I make this one my own? There weren't many changes on this one. I really liked how this one was designed. I did, on this, they had left a gully between this brown piece, it looked like from the instructions, and this blue piece here. I decided to scooch mine in, and because I scooched it in, I also decided to rearrange the tags just a little bit. As you can see here, I don't like naked tags. It's just like I don't like naked buttons. I always sew thread or something in my buttons or twine, so I used some ivory or white ribbon, and I just used a light tan alcohol mark inker to turn it into a more vintage sort of tea stained look. I think that turned out super cute. I really like this layout. Okay. Going to the next one. Alrighty, this is very pretty as well. Move that up a little bit. Changes here. Okay, on this one, they had this as a longer sheet, and I cut it off. I didn't, instead of putting it under these layers, I just cut it off short enough, and I was able to get a tag, or not a tag, a photo mat size for 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, I believe, from this. So I had already used the sticker up here on the prior page, so then I just used a 3/4 inch hole punch to punch a piece of the pattern paper and use that instead up there. I've added in some pretty sort of taupe colored brads. Those are from Basic Gray back in the day. Over here, I changed this cluster. They had used one of the postage stamps, and I had seen that there were 2 postage stamps and stickers and a postage stamp on the chipboard, the printed chipboard. So I decided I wanted to save those for my extra page. So here I had to substitute, which was easy enough. I used this Marseille sticker, which was cream. Well, cream and cream isn't going to work, is it? So I went ahead and used an alcohol marker to change that to blue so that I have the contrast here that I needed. Is the only change I made on this page. Then I was also, since I was playing with the printed chipboard, I tried circle punching a 3/4 inch circle, and it didn't really work, and it almost messed up my punch, so I do not recommend it. So here I ended up having to freehand that half of that circle, and then I used my sort of tea stained color of alcohol ink marker. Okay. There will be close-up shots at the end of all of the clusters. All right, so then what was I left with? Not a lot of stickers on my sticker sheet. So here is what I did. And this is a pretty simple page. It actually is meant to serve, it could either be a single as it is, or it could easily be scored in the middle and put in a 12 by 12 page protector, and could go in the middle of the first 2 pages, which, as you remember, are that dark green pattern paper background. Let me show you. See how nice this looks together. This paper, actually both of these papers, the paler green, blue, and the dark, are from the mix-in. Each catalog we do has a mix-in paper pack, and it has 6 papers. So usually you can find 2 each that go with each of the 3 workshops in the catalog. Okay, here, as I said, you will see that I have those 3 stickers. Here is the 5-cent, here's the 5-cent blue one down here, and then here is the chipboard one, and I went ahead and I used alcohol ink markers there to make that pink to tie in with these flowers. And then I did the same on this big butterfly off the chipboard. Use that same color. And then you might see the little surprise of these 3 little black flowers. Those happen to just be the last 3 pieces of thin chipboard out of the card making kit. So when I was cleaning up after the card making kit, I saw those, so I went ahead and used them. Again, here, this is another piece where I wanted to pull this green that was here over here, so I just used an alcohol ink marker on the blank chipboard. I really like that chipboard sheet, that you can make it any color you want, so that will come in really handy. You can see here, these are just these 2. First piece of paper is trimmed down, and then I've used, these were leftover zip strips from the Scrapbook Workshop. This zip strip here is actually from one of these 2 mix-in, and I've used it here. And then this little date is an old Close to My Heart leftover from some other project. So I think that turned out really nice. As I said, Close to My Heart is tending to do bigger stickers on their sticker sheet, so there are not a lot of quantity as far as extra stickers. You see that this blue one was fairly good sized. This leaf one here, this chipboard. Also, you'll notice under here, this is chipboard, and it was a frame, and then the inside of the frame had some things punched out of it. So by leaving that inside in, I had less to cover up. So I did use the negative piece that really wasn't worth anything because it would help add to my cluster. Okay, I thought these were very fun. Let's move on to the card making. Okay, they give you the directions for all 4 cards, and they're really pretty. Here is the first. This stamp set had a fun die that is this two different size bows, and then this long piece of ribbon strip. And because those were so narrow, I used my Xyron 1.5 inch little X label maker, I think they call it, where it's just the adhesive, so you can put small pieces in and run them through. So I did that for all of these. And then we use a lot of toffee ink to distress around the edges. And we do some stamping here, turning paper into plain cardstock into pattern paper. I really think that's pretty. Here's another one, Peace and Comfort. Here we have that ribbon like it's going around this package. Very nice. Some more of that stamping with this script that's unreadable. And then the postage marks up at the top. And here's the next one. This might be my favorite. Thinking of You. Again, we've done that stamping and edging on our front piece here. These cute little thin chipboard embellishments. And then here is the last one. Actually, I think this goes that way. Yes. I did mess up and I cut my paper wrong here, so I'm hoping nobody notices. Since there are different elements going different ways, I might be able to get away with it. So I did have enough paper to cut an extra set. So I did get 1 extra card. I was able to cut 1 extra set out of that first card. Okay, there is that. As far as leftovers, I really used up pretty much everything. This is all I had left. These 2 stickers. This is all the paper I had left from both workshops, so that's not much. And that's actually the mix-in, and that's the mix-in. And then I had cut some, die cut some extra of these little labels. And then there wasn't all that much of the chipboard left either. So I was very, very happy with that. And Close to My Heart does a good job. That's if you are at the point in your stash level where you don't need a lot of extras, it's nice to be able to bring in a kit, use it pretty much up, and then be done with it and not have to deal with a lot of leftovers. So, okay, that's all I have for today. As always, I appreciate your time and attention.